He didn't notice it happening at first. That's how it always begins. Not with a dramatic moment, not with a clear line crossed, but with something small and almost sweet. A choice made out of love, a compromise that feels harmless, a silence that feels temporary. And then one day, a man looks in the mirror and doesn't recognize who he's become. This is the story of how love, when misunderstood, can slowly erase a man's identity. Not all at once, but piece by piece. In the beginning, he was whole. He had opinions, preferences, dreams that lived somewhere deep in his chest. He had routines that made him feel grounded. Sunday mornings with coffee and quiet late-night drives with music turned up, goals that belonged to him and no one else. Then he met her. She made the world feel warmer, brighter, more meaningful, and suddenly everything he did felt better when she was part of it. He didn't lose himself then, he shared himself. That's an important distinction. Love at its healthiest is an expansion, two people growing side by side. But that's not the kind of love this story's about. This is about the slow shift, the one no one warns men about. It starts with adjustment. She doesn't like the way he dresses, so he changes it. Not because he hates his style, but because her approval feels good. She jokes about his hobbies, so he does them less. He tells himself it's fine. He's maturing, prioritizing, choosing love. He spends more time explaining himself, less time being himself. At first, it feels like sacrifice. Noble, romantic. After all, isn't love about compromise? Yes, but only when both people are giving something up. What happens when only one person is shrinking? Slowly, his world begins to orbit around her. Her moods decide the tone of his day. Her needs come before his without question. He cancels plans with friends because it's easier than dealing with her disappointment. He stops bringing up certain topics because they lead to arguments. He learns which version of himself causes the least friction, and so he becomes that version. This is the moment most men don't realize they're losing themselves because nothing is being taken from them. They are giving it away willingly. Here's the part no one likes to talk about. Men are often taught that love means endurance. That being a good partner means being patient, understanding, accommodating. That his role is to be stable, calm, unshakable. So when something feels wrong, he doesn't leave. He adapts. When he feels unheard, he speaks softer. When he feels disrespected, he laughs it off. When he feels lonely, he tells himself he's being dramatic. He starts doubting his instincts. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe this is just how relationships work. Maybe I'm the problem. And with every maybe, another piece of him disappears. Notice what happens next. He stops expressing disagreement. He stops pursuing his ambitions with the same fire. He stops asking himself what he wants. Not because he doesn't have desires anymore, but because it feels safer not to. Love has become something he must maintain instead of something he experiences. And maintenance requires suppression. Over time, resentment begins to form, but it doesn't explode. It sinks. It settles deep in his chest like a weight he can't explain. He feels tired, even when nothing physical has changed. He feels distant from his own life. He feels invisible but doesn't know how to say it without sounding weak. So he doesn't say it. Instead, he becomes quieter, more agreeable, more emotionally absent. Not because he doesn't care, but because caring has cost him too much. And here's the cruel irony. The more he loses himself, the less attractive he becomes to the very person he's trying to keep. She senses the change. She feels the lack of presence. She feels the absence of strength, not dominance, but direction. She doesn't feel chosen anymore. She feels responsible, and responsibility kills desire. This is where confusion peaks. He's done everything right. He's been loyal, supportive, available. So why does he feel like he's disappearing? Why does love feel like erosion instead of growth? Because love without boundaries isn't love. It's self-abandonment. A man's identity isn't built on control or ego. It's built on self-respect, on having values that don't bend every time someone disapproves, on having passions that exist even when no one applauds, on having a voice that doesn't vanish to keep the peace. When love requires a man to constantly mute himself, it doesn't make him kind. It makes him hollow. There's a moment, quiet, often lonely, when he realizes something is wrong. It might be during a conversation where he agrees without thinking. Or a night when he can't remember the last time he felt excited about his own life. Or when someone asks, "What do you want?" and he genuinely doesn't know. That moment hurts more than any argument because it's not about her anymore. It's about him. Here's the truth most men learn too late. You don't lose your identity because someone takes it from you. You lose it because you stop protecting it. Because you confuse love with self-sacrifice. Because you think being chosen requires being smaller. Because you believe that keeping the relationship alive matters more than keeping yourself alive inside it. Real love doesn't demand erasure. It challenges you, but it doesn't consume you. It asks for compromise, but not silence. It brings closeness, but not dependency. A woman who truly loves a man doesn't want him to disappear into her life. She wants him to stand firmly in his own. Reclaiming identity isn't about becoming cold or distant, it's about becoming honest. Honest about your needs, your boundaries, your values, your non-negotiables. It's about understanding that love built on fear of loss, fear of conflict, fear of being alone will always cost you something vital, and that something is usually yourself. So if you feel like you've been fading, if you feel like you've been editing your personality to survive, if love feels like pressure instead of peace, pause. Ask yourself a question that takes courage to face. Who was I before I started trying so hard to be loved? The answer isn't lost. It's waiting. And the moment you choose yourself, not over love, but within love, you don't lose relationships. You finally gain one that doesn't require you to disappear to exist. Because the right love doesn't erase a man's identity, it reveals it. And anything that asks you to vanish was never love in the first place.